at the English Hub. What's up, David?
What's going on? English Hub.
Yep. So we're doing the show that's called the Thought Process. You want to tell me about that, David?
Yeah, it's a show where we talk to people about their thought process, how they came from the start, how they started to believe something, how they got from the beginning to the end. We want to understand it too. We ask questions. We try to understand. Our goal is not to debate. Our goal is to really kind of draw out the thought process for people, so people can understand the whole thought process without having to be interrupted or like have to be having to win the conversation. The goal is the win condition for this show is that people understand the person who came up on the stage better.
Yeah, totally. I was talking to Mango earlier, and she reminded me of something that was really interesting or actually, let me back up. She said something that was really interesting that kind of inspired me. And what she said was like, I don't remember exactly what was said, but it reminded me of like a way to describe this show in a question that we can ask. And it's kind of like, with regards to what you believe, tell us your story of how you came from this belief or not knowing about it to belief. Tell us your story about that. Tell us that path. Walk us down that path. Let's try to understand you.
Mm-hmm. And if you need a little help framing, you can picture my friend today, David, here. He was born yesterday. He doesn't have any experiences in life. He understands, English and logic for some reason. Science is cool, I guess. But how would you explain something that's important to you that you wish other people believed to somebody who was born yesterday?
Indeed. And you had some interesting prompts. We were thinking about doing like a wheel, but we didn't have that set up yet. What was some of your prompts? Throw me out one of your prompts that you had.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I was driving down the road, and some of the questions I was wanting to ask people, things like, not looking it up right now. We're talking about where'd it go?
I think one of them was something that you learned when you were young. That was one of them.
Yeah. What's something that your experiences as a child taught you about the world, or maybe taught you and you learned different as you got older? Um, that was a fun one. What's something that you learned as a child or when you were young?
Another interesting one,
Go
kind of
ahead.
off the top of my head, might be, what's something that you changed your mind about? What's something that you believed was true and you no longer believe it? Or maybe the other way around, you believe it. Who knows? But the way this works is you can raise your hand. We got a ton of people in here. Nobody raising their hand yet. Anybody can be the first. No need to feel intimidated. We're big teddy bears, basically, especially David. And
I'm big.
Yeah. and his middle name's Teddy, so. Well,
yep, it is now.
Hey, we got Sean. We'll kick it off with Sean. We'll see what Sean has to say.
All right.
How are you doing, Sean?
Hello. I'm doing pretty good, thanks for asking.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. So, with
picture.
our prompts that we were talking about, did anything we say invoke anything for you? What came to mind?
The thing that came to mind is like kind of norms that you have to respect. Does that make any sense? Or
Yeah, can you? I think it makes sense. Can you give an example?
As usual, well, I won't say out loud because I might be punished for it, but I'm of course, completely and utterly. Um, Sorry about this. 2 seconds. I have to get my thoughts straight.
Okay, yeah, take your time. It's okay.
Hamza, yes, I do want to play Aram. 2 seconds. But, anyway, could you remind me of the question at hand by any chance? No,
Yeah,
please,
so
just so I don't embarrass myself further.
I guess we can start off kind of this way. Like, what is something you believe that is true, that is the case, that's something that resonates with you?
Hmm. Well, I don't really like saying it, but since my mum's died, not my mum. Oh God, heaven forbid it would be my mum. But since my aunt is dying of cancer, she's got like a day or two left. I don't want to be negative or anything. It's fine. But something that resonates with me is that life isn't always fair. Can you have have any? I've great respect for you and everything, but the fact that she's about to pass away and I'm taking it really, really bad.
Mm.
And she's always positive and stuff, but that it's just a show. It must be just a show.
Mm.
Um,
What?
At the same time, uh, it's no. I'll let. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No,
Excuse me.
finish your thought though. It's all right.
At the same time, whenever I speak to her, she's always so positive. She seems like she's the same person and all that.
Mm.
Not to go into details or anything. And if she's in pain, no. Being well taken care of, yes. Really good, all positive, everything positive, positive, positive. But she's gonna be dead. Like,
And
I
what?
know it's a bit. Within a couple of days, she's gonna die. And
And what kind of
to
emotions does
me,
that make you feel? Like what do you get?
oh me, sadness, sadness for sure. A lot of sadness. Like
Mm.
almost, I'm not able to function.
Mm.
Kind of sadness. I don't know if you've ever experienced that or not.
I-
Um, that's just an example. Like, I'm sure there's many
So
more.
so that's something stacking up to
Yeah.
make you feel that life is not fair.
Um, in her particular case, like I said last time, I think, and I know Pierce was there, and there
Mhm.
was a nice woman called Mango as well, I think, and they might have heard it before, but she always takes things the positive way. She always has a positive outlook on everything, on life, and she she doesn't feel sorry for herself. She doesn't start saying, "Why me?" Even though she's the healthiest person ever,
Mm.
which is in its own way. Like, I don't, I don't know if it's the right platform. I'm sorry. It's the second time I do this. I don't want to.
Do you have
You are
frustration?
someone who wants to
Do you have
hold his hand
frustration
up.
with her being positive? Is that what you're communicating here?
Hmm, that's a good question, actually. Because in a certain sense, I'd just like her to admit that she's scared shitless.
Hmm.
Because I would be.
Hmm.
Like, I putting myself in her shoes, I wouldn't actually. I don't think I'd be able to cope with it, and she's coping with it so well. It's unreal.
Do you
Like,
think perhaps she has a coping strategy or a coping mechanism that is
yes, of
working
course,
in?
she's
Yeah.
got a PhD in psychiatry, so
Hmm.
I think she knows about all the things she's got to do. And in a certain way, I believe she's been preparing for it for a very, very long time.
Does
Have you
that ease
considered
your
asking her?
frustration?
Go ahead.
No, no.
Was that answering my question or David's?
I'm not frustrated. I'm, I,
Oh,
I'm. Who asked if I was frustrated or
That
not?
was me
Was it
originally.
David or
I was
Pierce?
curious if that's what you were asking or saying, but have you considered asking her how she's?
I talk to her every day, every single day. I don't miss a single day. She's in a hospice now. She's got 2 days left, according to the doctors. And it's the first time that it's happened to me. I know many people here have probably lost someone dear to them, or but like, this person, like, the way she's dealing with it, it's like, wow, seriously, like,
yeah.
Yeah.
how can it? And she's just making sure that everyone knows that she loves them. That's all she's doing. Day in, day
Hmm.
out, everyone that she knows, and it can be hard at times because I ask her, I mean, what are you supposed to say to someone who's dying? For example, Dave Pierce, what would you say to engage a conversation with someone who is in a hospice and who's dying from cancer? Like, what would you
I
say?
don't. I don't think I'd
For
say
example,
anything different than I'd normally say. I think I would just have a conversation. That's what I would do.
yeah,
I,
exactly.
I think I try to treat every day like,
Mm,
it might be the last time I talk to this person. Um,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think I'd really do anything
Well,
different.
wouldn't you hesitate? Wouldn't you think at one point, like, aren't you afraid of saying the wrong thing? Or,
I'm
no?
not. No,
No.
you're
Okay.
afraid of saying the wrong thing.
I am, yes. Yes.
Hmm. What's the consequence if you do say the wrong thing?
She thinks less of me.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's only me being honest, and she's told me that I can ask her whatever she wants, say whatever I want to her, blah blah blah. I mean,
Hmm.
so this is because I'm drunk and I don't want to waste your time. I'm not gonna waste your time anymore, but it's just it's just upsetting, you know, when you've
Yeah.
got someone that you care about that doesn't really deserve it, but okay, death or life or whatever, I said stop. Even though, well, some people deserve it, and I'm not going to give any examples. Some other people don't, and she's part of the people who don't. So I'd like to pass my turn, like, if
Sean,
possible.
I
But
I think that's
before,
incredibly
mm,
hard. I'm really sorry that that's happening. It sounds like she's really important to your life and an incredible person.
mm,
Um, I can imagine that if there's two world scenarios and you've got one world which you just don't say anything and you don't interact with them, and there's a world where you tried to be more close to them and risk potentially saying the wrong thing. I think at the end of the day, you're going to get more interaction with your aunt
Her husband
attempting.
told me about. I consider him to be my uncle. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's a good man, and he said, no, and God, for him it must be really difficult. But he said that he gave certain. We're a big family. He gave instructions to everyone not to bother her too much because it's hard. Like it's hard for both of them to have to deal with this. So they want their privacy as well, and time to. Like they've known each other since they're 18. They're 50 plus now. It's a very, very long time.
Wow.
And so at the beginning I was scared to message, but my uncle, as I called him, he said, there's no problem. She loves talking to you. Of course, I'm not as drunk as I am now, and I apologise to the audience as well, and to you guys, because I have had a few beers, let's say, to say the least. But no,
What do you think you could learn?
he just said that anything that the time I give her, and I gave her a lot, the messages, all the attention and stuff, it keeps her occupied.
Yeah.
She's happy about it and all that. And
And
but
you said,
what can I learn about it? You said no.
yeah. I mean,
Learn
no. What
about
could you
what
learn
exactly?
to
No.
like to go from the way that you would deal with this to the way that she seems to be dealing with this? Like, what do you think you could learn today or tomorrow to say, okay, I could totally, I could handle that. Like, I would.
The one thing that she asked me, and I might cry, but I'm not sure
All
right
right.
now, but I might. The one thing she asked me to promise her is that I get a life because I'm worth much more than currently am,
Yeah.
and give up the drink, give up all the bad stuff, and
Mm,
be the person that she used to know like 20 odd years ago,
mm,
because I'm 32,
mm-hmm.
and like
You seem like a very
it's,
introspective person, like someone who thinks a lot about the world, thinks a lot about yourself.
oh,
Is
I'm not selfish. I'm not selfish,
what I'm
and
saying,
sometimes it hurts me.
internal
Like,
critique, like you're thinking about the actions you do and the impact they have on others. I think that you
mm,
seem like the kind of person who thinks about a lot of that kind of stuff. I can imagine that you. I mean, you talk about having a lot of things you'd have to kind of give up to be a different person in that way. But I mean, it seems to me like, I mean, some people just live their life as zombies. Like they don't even think about this kind of stuff. Some people just punch in and punch out. I mean,
I've
it sounds like you
forgotten
got
how to
momentum.
live. It's pretty simple. I'm at this stage at the moment. I've forgotten what how to live because you can. Some people say how to be normal. No one knows what normal is, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's got their definition for what normal is, but how to live, have a life, interactions and stuff. I've
You,
forgotten how to do that. I'm completely fucked.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, there are limitations. Like you can only run as fast as you can run. You only have a certain
I
amount of time in
run
the day.
pretty
Yada
fast,
yada.
by the way.
Look at that. You're already on top there.
Mm,
But I mean, the crazy thing is we can
mm.
literally be someone new tomorrow. I mean, it's hard. Like it takes like effort to kind of make the pathways in your brain, make a new trail. You got to go through some brush. Um, but there's a concept that's
Have any of you lost someone significant to you so far in your lives, or not?
I have. Um,
Mm,
I'd rather not go into too much personal of the details on it.
mm,
But I can definitely understand that it's literally like it feels like you're having to like block out like a part of yourself in some ways, and it feels like every time you think in that kind of like to me it kind of every time you think in that kind of direction like it feels heavy almost, and that's uh, like an extra weight. And I mean that's
You have to stop at a certain point.
yeah.
In
I
other
just
words,
watched the movie Inside Out with my kids. Have you seen that movie?
I've never. I'm
It's
sorry,
a
it
kids
doesn't
movie.
ring
It's
a
all
bell.
right.
Yeah.
But it's about like the emotions controlling this little teenage kid, and the moral of the story is basically that a lot of the goal of the joy character who's trying to make the kid experience joy is trying to make not let any of the joy memories in their life be tainted by sadness or anger or anything like that. And like the moral of the story is basically is that life is the joy and the sadness, the joy
Mm.
of the
Of
good
love.
time eating, yeah, and then the sadness brought you closer to your people. It's like it shows the how the mixture of all that is creates the
Mm.
fullness of life. um I forgot where I was going with this though. It's it's a pretty good
No,
movie.
I
It
was
changes a
just
lot when you have
asking
kids.
you if you lost anyone.
Yeah, and
That's
honestly,
all.
I like I lost a lot of part of myself and a lot of my like uh, familiar connections in life whenever I uh, s- uh, stopped believing the religion I was brought up in, which was a huge um, aspect of my life. It was my
Oh,
career path. It was my all my connections and my family and friends and stuff like that. And like I had to,
I didn't realize you were religious. Okay.
I was at one point,
Mm.
and whenever I stopped being, it felt like a part of me died, and it was very difficult to have to kind of uh, build up. And I hate to use the word replace. It's not replace, but
Substitute? No.
yeah, yeah. Like the to me, it was kind of like a vehicle I drove, and it got me places, and it worked for what it was at the time. But when the car broke down and I couldn't find the right parts to fix it, uh, it's much more realistic to. I mean, it just made sense to get a new vehicle, so to speak. Maybe I don't know. It's the
Yeah.
first time I've ever made this
Okay.
analogy. I don't know if it actually holds up.
No, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
But
Oh well.
yeah,
Well, that's what I had to say. I can't even remember what my original question was. To be
you were
fair.
wondering why we didn't have 100,000 followers because our show is so
Yeah,
great,
yeah, and,
and you came in
yeah.
to say
It's
like you were gonna
really, yeah, yeah, yeah. That must be it.
plaster us on light poles.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's the only
Sean,
reason.
I'm so sorry about your aunt, man. That sucks. And I mean, I know you're already trying to sort through a lot in life, and that's
Oh no, no, no. It's just I hope I haven't bored you all to death. That's all.
the reason
Because
we have this call
yeah,
to talk to different people
everyone's
about
got
different
their own
things.
problems.
Yeah,
Everyone's
pain's
got their
relative.
problems. No? And I've come on here basically to moan at the end
Yeah.
of the day. To say, poor me, I've got an aunt who's dying. I'm
Well,
sure maybe for some
everybody's
other
got a
people,
moan.
something even worse has happened to them. But it's all relevant, isn't it? Or relative.
Yeah,
More or
yeah, like
less.
watching Obi-Wan Kenobi get slashed by what's his name?
Darth
Darth
Vader.
Maul, or whoever.
Vader.
It
Yeah.
only care. It's
Yeah.
only. It's really
God
painful to the
damn
people
it.
in the story, but it's just,
Mm.
it's not the same to somebody who's in the Chronicles of Narnia or something. I don't know. But cheesy metaphors aside, uh, part of the point of the show is we talk about beliefs, we talk about um, values, we talk about experiences, because part of the human experience is things like this. It's needing to moan. It's dealing with grief. It's finding meaning and purpose. And so we can talk about this. We can talk about, ultimately it's what we're talking
Well,
about when we're talking about religion, when we're talking about
how come no
values. I
one
mean,
else wants to speak in religions? Then? That's what I'm wondering. Why is it only me?
Pierce, you're muted, I
I'm
think.
sure someone else wants to speak.
If
It's
anybody
not
does want to raise
difficult.
their
They're
hand,
very nice. They're not going to bite you or eat you. Or
Unless you like that kind of thing.
Well, no, I don't.
No, that's why I haven't.
I know it's Pride Month, but okay. That's my
Uh,
small joke of the day. Hopefully, I
solid.
won't be crucified for it.
well, you actually hit that one out of the park. That was a good joke. I like that.
Yeah. So um, it's no problem at all. Our show's kind of vague in a lot of ways, so I get how a lot of people are.
Don't mind continuing. What else would you like to know? Any specifics? Otherwise, I'm going to start asking you questions. It's going to be very difficult.
Hmm.
That was supposed to be a joke as well.
Oh.
Got distracted.
Well, Sean, I think maybe I'll move you back to the audience just to encourage someone else to raise their hand, and we'll go from there.
No problem, Piss. Yeah. Nice speaking to you. Thanks.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks, shot.
All right. So, you guys kind of got a taste of how the show kind of operates. So, we bring someone on up. We talk to them about pretty much whatever. I mean, it could be something that you believe is true. It could be something that bothering you. You know, it could be something political that you don't like or you like. It could be just something that you're passionate about. Not necessarily a hobby, but something that you
You wish other
really,
people thought too.
yeah, something, right. Something you wish other people believed as well. Something, we're pretty broad here. We're pretty broad with what we're asking. I know there was a few people who were inquiring about coming up on stage. Whoever you folks were, I don't really remember. If you guys do want to come up stage, you gotta raise your hand so we can bring you on up. Then we will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, got no takers. That's unlike this server. Usually we
Yeah.
got people lining up.
It's all right.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
What's good?
look it
Oh,
up.
there. We got Quaid. Quaid wants to come on up.
An honest ape.
What's up, Quaid?
Such a fun name.
Yes.
What's going on, guys?
Oh, just up here chatting. What about you?
Yeah.
Just trying to think of stuff to throw in here. I mean, I have something, but it's a little bit napalm, so I don't want to blow up your show if it's not the direction you want to go.
Honestly,
I
we're
don't
just
know.
kind of rolling life right now. So if Pierce is up for it, I'm up for it.
Yeah. Lay it on us. If it blows up, it blows up. We got nobody else who raised their hands, so it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, I think just thinking about the recent Trump indictments, and what that's going to mean for the election and I guess the government as a whole is like something I've been thinking about a lot. I'm sure you've had probably conversations recently about this in some form or fashion on a show.
No.
Oh
In real
wow.
life,
we
but
have-
not on the show. No,
Yeah.
Okay, so nobody's brought it up before.
No.
not yet. So tell me your thoughts on it. What's why is it important for you to bring up?
Well, I think uh, being transparent about my bias, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about Trump potentially being president. I'm concerned about even the implications if he becomes president and having been indicted on these things. What does that mean for the role of the president? And then Project 2025, I think, are like the three main things that I think about in regards to this. So it's like, he's indicted now, so if he becomes president, as far as I understand it, there are certain countries that he's not technically supposed to be allowed to go to at that point. So then what is that going to mean for diplomacy? They'll probably, I guess, just end up letting that happen, right? Because he's a US president.
You should do a Zoom call.
Just do a Zoom call? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me
After-
you've got COVID. Sorry, I got COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess, that's... I don't spend too much time thinking about it because I'm trying to think less about politics, but, that's kind of the thing right now. It's like, what is this going to be? I'm waiting for the polls to come out. I want to know how this is going to influence the public.
How would another Trump presidency impact your life?
Well, I don't know, but I guess that's kind of part of the concern is I feel like with other presidents, there's some expectation of some in-range normalcy. Like some I expect it's going to, change it a little bit in one way or another, but not too much, whereas there's a potential that this could change it significantly, I guess. Like to the point where I'm probably not going to move, but it's kind of the first time I've ever actually thought about moving out of the US. So yeah.
Where does that stem from? Like moving out of the U.S. Like sounds like sounds like it's motivated potentially by fear.
Yeah.
What invokes that fear?
So I view systems in the US as giving us like a certain level of stability, and an eroding of those institutions can disrupt that stability. Like for instance, if we enact parts of Project 2025, then this is going to radically change our education system to a degree where we might be now dealing with a population that isn't necessarily learning rigorous scientific methods and is kind of acting on those things. And Trump in particular, or at least the project seems concerned with giving the president in particular a lot of authority that they don't already have. And we have like a huge military too. So it's like the power or the capacity for harm is much greater in that scenario because of how big our military is and dominant.
What form of harm are you imagining in this scenario?
I guess probably multiple. I mean, like multiple forms of harm. Just again being around people that maybe don't have the same level of critical thinking skills, and I think we already struggle with that. Can harm me in numerous ways in terms of the way they help me conduct my affairs, just interacting with them. You know, if this decreases trust in the justice system and there's kind of a reciprocal distrust, then, you know, I could end, you know, and I could end up getting in trouble, or people could get in trouble, and now you're kind of in a court system that is scorned because people don't trust it and you don't trust the system. And so
Okay.
yeah, I think more of a general thing.
So it sounds like the fear is coming from the loss of, trying to think of a potential universal need here. I think it might be like communal trust, maybe like communal helping, community, the fabric of community. What keeps people from speeding through red lights all the time and crashing into each other. And
Yeah, I guess that's an
Sorry,
aspect of it. It is. It's more selfish than that. It's just like I perceive this as potentially making life more difficult for me in terms of maintaining stability of my own conditions. So my ability to kind of meet all my basic needs of, you know, paying for all my bills and having a place to live and a stable job, you know, that type of stuff.
Okay. Okay. It goes deeper than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but the social components obviously are related to that in some way.
During the first term, there were, you know, arguably good and bad things. But the world didn't shut down. The country didn't. I mean, well, I guess kind of COVID shut down, but okay, never mind.
Well, that doesn't count, but yeah, go ahead.
But we made it. We made it to the end of that. Why do you fear the second term would be something different?
Because this would be the last term that he is going to be potentially in. So I feel like he's got this to lose now. He can kind of be more bold and brazen in his action. Like the first term, he's trying to get reelected. Now he doesn't have to worry about getting reelected. He's been indicted now. So now he's already kind of scorned in some ways and even talks about it publicly. He's got some scores to settle with people and has talked openly about going after political opponents. Which is pretty groundbreaking, generally speaking. And then, yeah, and then again, what those indictments mean for his ability to work within the system, and then the implementation of Project 2025 are the new things now that I think are making this term different. Trump did, in my view, he did obviously good things too. But he did some things that I think, in some of them very short term, but in the long term are going to be harmful from his first term. I think the capacity is greater for a second one, though.
Do you think that so the world is growing exponentially with AI, the internet, everything here. I mean, the world's kind of chaotic. Going to be more chaotic no matter what. Do you think that Trump is a variable that's going to come in and change something, or like, do you think that he is going to be the momentum, or that the momentum is already there?
No, I think Trump is a symptom of something else. So I don't think that he is the cause, but I think he is going to accelerate the thing that's happening more. Like he's going to. So for instance, I don't I don't view Trump, even though the analogy has been made and there's some literature around this, as like a Hitler figure. I don't think he's Hitler, but I think because of the things he wants to do, he could be paving the way for a Hitler type person. Like giving the president so much power over the executive branch, creating an education system where it can be run by people who are not the most qualified to be doing that. So now you have that type of education system. His what are some of the other things he wants to do? Yeah, I guess those are two of the main things to start talking about. So it's like, to me, he's creating a scenario where, and even just him as a figure, he's creating a scenario where it's kind of proven to us or paved the way for an enthusiastic leader who does have more nefarious intent. Because I think Trump is just selfish. I don't think he's nefarious necessarily. I think he's just, you know, he's gonna do whatever is best for him.
If there was a way that, in a hypothetical scenario, if you were assured that these two things, the thing regarding education and the thing regarding giving the president more power, if you were somehow assured that Trump was not going to do that, that was off the table, he was actually going to reverse that, give the president less power, and actually improve education in the way you found favorable. If that was the case, how would you feel about Trump at that point?
I'd feel better. I mean, there's a lot outlined in Project 2025, but if you're just talking about the things outlined in Project 2025 that concern me, if those things weren't going to happen, he wasn't going to do those things or whatever, then I would at that point, just I think taking away the Project 2025 thing would immediately be like, this is probably just going to be another presidency.
Okay.
The indictments still concern me, but
so it's kind of really that value of what's contained in Project 2020, Project 25. I don't know. Sorry, not familiar with it.
Yeah, Project 2025 is pretty big.
2025. Okay. I guess let's just talk about like the part that is concerning you regarding education. So what is in that project? What is subject to change? Can you tell me something specific that would be changed from how it is now to how it would be if those things got implemented?
Are you talking about just the education system?
Yeah, or whatever's most important.
Yeah. So as far as I understand, I'll have to look up what the actual change, and the document is like over 1,000 pages, so that's obviously makes it more difficult. But from my current understanding is, it's basically going to take a lot of funding away from the public education system. He's obviously going to replace people who he's going to replace the people in power in the public education system with people who are probably less likely to be competent, and it's going to give the private education system much more power, and make them much more dominant in the U.S., which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but given our reputation with fundamentalist schooling, it's obvious that is people are going to take advantage of that and start creating schools that are not teaching rigorous science and academia. They already do it with what they can. So it's just going to make that worse.
Why do you imagine people do want to vote for Trump?
I think a lot. Okay, well, there's some science behind this. I guess I'll let's set the science aside. I guess just to put it bluntly, I think people are disgruntled and they're upset, and I think that when those things happen, people are kind of predisposed to they're more susceptible to kind of a certain type of persona, a certain type of language. You know, like people don't, when people's lives are uncertain, they don't like nuance. So even though nuance is usually always still a thing, they're more likely to put someone in power that says, I'm going to fix this issue 100%, as opposed to the person that says, like, we're going to work really hard to solve this issue, even though that's the actual truth, right? That you can't guarantee 100% success. When you're unstable, you want 100% success. You want that vision, that picture of perfection. And I think they're leery of institutions, and they view Trump as kind of wanting to burn those things down. They've kind of been against Trump, and so they view Trump as kind of going to solve these things that they also distrust. If I had to guess.
And why don't you feel the same as them?
Because I don't have a distrust of these institutions. Where like I have some distrust of the justice system, obviously, but I don't have a massive distrust. Like I don't think, for instance, that what happened to him was some mass conspiracy that, we got 12 jurors willing to indict him, and the judge just completely biased against him, and that's why he got indicted. But that is what people think. So
when should we take that step from conspiracy to thinking that the conspiracy is true, that is the case? What gets us from there to there?
I mean, I can talk about what gets me there, which is essentially like historical consensus or expert consensus. Like conspiracy theories in particular are very convoluted, and it's just like, well, how do we know that Operation Paperclip happened? Well, it's because the documents were opened and they were revealed, and historians got around it and said, "Yep, that's what happened."
Okay. Taking it down to like this level, like what's currently happening, the Trump thing. How would we figure out if the judge did hate him and all the jurors were set up, or whatever the conspiracy is, or if it was a legit trial and he's actually guilty?
Yeah, I'd say you need. So, to me, you would assume that it was a legitimate trial until you get some type of documented evidence that there was conspiracy. So, for instance, a letter to the jurors, or letters back and forth to people saying, like, we're going to get these jurors in. We're going to select these jurors. We're going to select the jurors that are going to get him indicted. Like some type of exchange between people that they are actually setting this up. Or letters from the judge saying, like, I don't care if he's guilty or not. I would just want to ruin his life, and I'm going to do that. And if they find him guilty, then just because I don't like him, I'm going to throw the book at him. Some type of especially because what we're talking about here, and with a lot of conspiracy theories, the reason that conspiracy theories are a problem, because a lot of time we're talking about in intent and like internal motive. So it's like, you need people to articulate that intent or internal motive if you want to sufficiently indicate that that's going on.
I've actually got the judge's letter right here. And
it's very small writing. Oh, okay.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
an envelope.
They're trying to be secret. Yeah. How can we verify whether or not it was real or not?
Well, signature would be one way. I mean, if it was written, hopefully maybe it would be signed, maybe not signed. If it's an email, it's going to come from a certain address. If it's a text, it's going to come from a certain phone number. So you want it to verify that it's coming from a certain place.
Let's say hypothetically, Fox News runs a story, said, here's a screenshot from the judge's phone saying he was going to do this.
Yeah.
What would that be convincing to you?
And it has his number on
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
it's clearly his number. Yeah, I would say if there are no like Photoshop experts or like visual rhetoric experts coming out in droves saying this is clearly doctored, then I would probably say, yeah, that would convince me that happened.
My guess is that there would be droves of people saying it was fake no matter what, for the clout.
Yeah,
That's just kind of my assessment of our current situation. Is
definitely people. I guess I'm interested
Yeah.
in people who would have the certain skills.
Credentials.
Yeah,
you're
credentials
saying,
to know
yeah.
that. And
Yeah. And this is all a bunch of hypotheticals, and I get it.
yeah, and some
I
of
don't
them
know.
certainly will. It would have to be a significant number. It couldn't just be like a handful coming out and saying it. Like I would have to hear a lot of people saying, like, we know what doctored images look like, and this was doctored. There are people really good at that stuff.
I'm kind of wondering, like, in a situation like this, is it likely that any type of this evidence that we're talking about, like a screenshot or a letter, whichever, is this evidence that's ever gonna actually exist that we'll be able to evaluate? And if not, like, how do we make up our minds? How do we figure out what the truth is if there's no evidence?
Well, again, I would just assume that it's legitimate until otherwise, because it is through a court system that, while flawed, is the best that we can do. And selected by a jury of his peers, right? Like we're following the rules. So it could be wrong. Other information could be out, but I'm going to go with the default of the court's judgment until given reason to believe otherwise. Yeah, I mean, we would have to have an in-length conversation about the issues with the court system and that type of stuff too.
Yeah. I'm just going to show my hand a little bit, and yeah, I think all the candidates we have right now are criminals. Like I don't see much good option, honestly.
Well, I
mean,
I don't maybe fully disagree. I don't know if I would call Biden a criminal. I would have to know what crime he's being accused of. I would say that none of them are good options. I think that's the overlap. That's the common ground.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fair enough.
like I don't know too
Yeah.
many people that actually are like heavily enthusiastic about voting for Biden.
It really feels like the last two elections have been voting against the person you dislike. On both sides. That's my assessment of everything here. I don't know if that's really a hot take. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, water can be hot or cold. I don't know.
No, that's the popular opinion, David.
It might be.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is.
So
yes, that's my
welcome to my
sentiment too.
Cold takes with today, David.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I don't find anything particularly important or revolutionary or special about Biden at all. In fact, I have issues that I could list for days. I do think that he did better than I thought he was going to do. I'll say that. I voted for him in the last election, and he did stuff that I didn't think he was going to. I thought this is just a lame duck president for 4 years, you know? But he actually did get some things done that I was impressed by, but he's still leagues away from what I would want in terms of a president.
Yeah.
I just think Trump is that bad. So I it's just like, well, Biden is like, really slow and stuff. And it's just like, I would be fine. Like if Biden died, like to me, that's better than Trump being in office. Like if Biden just was completely incapacitated, at least he couldn't do anything. Like, in fact, it might be better. I don't know. It probably wouldn't be better, but at least he couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think all of our representatives, all of our politicians should be in comas. That'd be great.
That's a hot take. I think that's what they call based, right? That's a base
Yeah.
take.
Some Minority Report or something. I don't know.
But I do see you've got another person in your audience with their hand up, so if you want to.
Oh, that is Sean. Again.
Okay.
Good. Typically, we just try to bring up one time rather than twice, but you could potentially make an exception.
I was just pointing it out. It's up to you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mango, I know you were in our chat. You were saying that you had questions. You want to come up and take my spot for a moment and ask those questions?
She's typing.
Ah, she said
Oh
no.
my God, Will. Don't be scared.
I probably should have just like put that typed that to her instead of asking her live here. Oops.
You can ask them in the chat, maybe.
One of the questions I think she was going to ask was, what values do you look for in a leader?
Oh,
I think that was
okay.
one of the things.
Well, intelligence, I think, is probably the number one, pretty high up there. Intelligence along with competence. So a thorough understanding of, well, I guess I know. I think morality probably has to be the highest because a really intelligent, immoral person could do some awful things. So I'll go with like a humanist. So a humanist probably is the number one thing. Cares for humans, has thought about, what's going to be best for individuals and groups of people in terms of helping them flourish. Has a strong grasp of doing that. And then the next thing would be intelligence and competence, understands epistemology and critical thinking and logic and all that good stuff to some degree.
What could you see a presidential candidate doing that would make them think they were more moral than not?
Well, I think a great example to me of even a person who is a great example of this, but not even the best president would be Jimmy Carter, right? Just Habitats for Humanity, just always working on homes, like just always in service of people. And him really always being that way, always volunteering his time to people, I think is a really good start. Anyway, volunteering your time to organizations that seek to help people.
With regards to Trump, I think it sounds like you would say that he would be like a immoral person. At least that's kind of what I'm picking up.
Yeah, a mixture of immoral and amoral.
Gotcha. Do you think that he wants what's best for people, or would you say that he does not want what's best for like the U.S. people?
Yeah, I would say that's probably where he's amoral. He wants what's best for himself, and if that is also what's best for other people, then that's what he'll want. And if it's not best for other people, then that's what he'll want. Yeah, I think a small part of me does think that he has some part of him that does want to help people, but that's like a part that I think exists in like the vast majority of people. But I think he's mostly in service of himself.
Do you have any aspirations to be president one day?
No.
Why not?
Well, I don't have the credentials. That would be one big thing. I don't have the career for it. I don't have the money for it.
If you hit the lottery, would you do it?
No. I don't even think that's enough, is it? If you hit the lottery, like
6 times maybe.
Yeah, yeah. If I
Oh, man.
if I didn't, yeah, you'd have to win the lottery a lot of times.
That's a good point.
Well, if you hit it the
Yeah.
lottery 6 times, would you do it?
And go, yeah, and then I have to worry about going bankrupt at the end of it because I spent it. No, I mean, why would I do that? I would just be rich. And that's all I would do. I would give a lot of it away, but yeah, I would just, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd isolate.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't even know if you could, I don't even know if being rich is enough to win. You have to have something else apart from that. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. You're pretty charming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's just because of this nice hat that I'm wearing.
Yeah. You really remind me of like one of the early presidents for some reason.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I don't like the way that ends, but
Oh well, yeah.
and we are on a stage, right? Well, I guess he wasn't on a stage. Never mind.
That was when Secret Service didn't exist. You're fine nowadays.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's true too.
He's the reason Secret Service became a thing.
Oh, is he?
I think so. Unless I got
Maybe
that
it's the
wrong.
reason they became public. Because what
Maybe.
kind of secret service
Uh.
has a name that's knowable to people?
I mean, could you imagine though? So if there really was a Secret Service and that happened, I mean, he's not the only president to be shot. So I guess they trial and error. I guess that was some early trial and error.
All right, we got a
Yeah.
few hands up. We got Leslie put her hand up and one other person. You mind if we
Cool.
move on to them, Quaid?
Absolutely.
Appreciate you
Alright.
coming up. Interesting
Good talking.
conversation.
Good convo.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
See ya. All right, we'll bring Leslie up next. She had her hand up first.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Leslie.
Hello.
How's it going?
Hello. I really like Honest Abe. I was in a thing where he was doing a deep dive on some issues, and he's a real honest broker. So thanks, Abe. Or Ape? Ape?
Ape.
Is that
Yeah.
better?
Yeah. Like the cut of his jib.
The kind of his jib. There you go. Well, I think I am very opposed to Trump as well, but not for the reasons most people name. I actually don't. It's not a policy thing with me or a political thing with me. It's a societal cohesion thing with me. I mean, I've never seen a presidential election so vicious.
Hmm.
And so for that reason, I'm very much opposed to Trump. But I did want to actually say something about. There seems to be everybody seems unhappy with their candidate and their government, but I think it's just a reflection of us as a people because we don't agree. So we're not going to get a government that's working exactly the way somebody likes. We just can't. All we can get is this kind of compromise. Oh, maybe we'll get some good thing here and another good thing there. But because we're so divided in our approaches to these problems, I'm not sure it's possible.
You think that's something new that is recent, or something that has been an issue in all things, all elections?
I think it's actually new because if you listen to politicians, they used to go to lunch together. So the old school Democrats and Republicans used to go to lunch. They are actually throwing almost fist fights these days. So you just listen to how it used to be, and you can hear them talking about the difference. They were in committees together. They cared about their reputation as opposed to their leader's reputation, their standard, their presidential candidate. They were okay going against that person if it reflected well in their district, whatever that was. So it does seem quite different.
How could we figure out if it was actually different or if it was more of like a, I don't know, a Mandela effect or something? something weird going on like that.
Kayfabe.
Well, there is some research on this, right? There's a Pew survey, and it was like 4 years ago, I think, and it showed that we have become much more divided in the sense that we not only think that our ideas are right, we villainize the other guy. So our idea is right, and the other guy is dangerous, not just wrong, but dangerous.
Hmm.
Um,
Why do you think this shift? What changed?
the only thing I can point to is social media. We didn't used to have that. And when you reflect on it, it's quite dramatic because right now I can, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can get online and find 5 people who piss me off really easily. It's just and I couldn't do that before. If I was pissed off at 5 in the morning before the internet, say, or before, I couldn't actually find 5 people to piss me off. It would be hard.
You have to take a few laps around Walmart. Back when it was 24 hours.
Good old days.
Right.
You know how good we had it.
Right, the good old days when we're not confronted by other. And I think there's an audience effect going on all the time. Like, we're aware of the other people listening in, and we're aware, so if we hear somebody, it's not just like they're talking to us and influencing us, they're influencing others. And when they say something wrong, we want to jump on it and say, no, that's not right. Thinking somehow it really matters when it probably doesn't.
Maybe there's like a desire to win.
Definitely. Definitely. Score points. I mean, you can see that in our advertising, YouTube. Like, oh, this guy killed this guy, and oh, there was this gotcha moment, and and we've all seen the meme where the college boys are laughing and like, ooh, look what you did, and they're stepping back at the great zingers. It's almost like the mentality has gotten a little bit,
Have you
Look
heard
what
this?
I did.
Go ahead,
Trollish.
Juice. You're doing it.
If you could put out a public service announcement, a request for everybody to consider, what would that request be? What would it look like?
Get to know people and start with the things you have in common. It's in a way get boring, right? Instead of having conversations about that one thing that pisses you off, start with what's the movie you liked last week, or do you like puppies? I don't know, anything. What's it like raising kids?
Yeah,
anything
but my
that you
favorite
have in
movie
common.
went woke.
You know what I mean? Well, so then we move on to the next one. We try to find something that's we have in common. We can share.
Have you heard about all this, like the mentality of, the advertisement and social media? It's like they call it the race to the bottom of the brainstem. The goal is to get people's attention at the most core level, at the most primal level, so that they'll keep scrolling. And the thing that
right.
locks on the receptors, the thing that people keep their eyes on and they don't scroll away from, is controversy. It's aggression. It's disaster. It's scary things.
Right. We call that the attention economy. And now we have devices that we take to the bathroom with us that are with us almost 24/7 to tell us, to trying to grab our attention, to tell us about these horrible things and who we should be annoyed with, and who's going to destroy our society by their strange ways.
Yeah. Yeah. You look at every other headline. You won't believe what they're doing now.
Yes, exactly.
It's hard not to be paranoid of other people. It's hard not to think that there's, conspiracy people trying to destroy the things that you care about and value. Because I mean, it's you could be hit by it 5 a.m. Just roll over your bed, open your phone, it's right there. It's
Mhm.
life is more complicated. I think it's easier to be more divisive. I think it's harder to make more cohesion now
Mhm.
because there is.
Well, yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily just the political leaders, because I mean they're feeding the machine. I mean they're doing what it
Mhm.
takes to be relevant. Like we were saying, you'd have to win the lottery 6 times to afford to lobby your way into the hot seats there. And so like to stay relevant, they're doing what they can to get your attention. It's yeah, in professional
Well,
wrestling, there's this thing called kayfabe. It's basically how the wrestlers, they have beef with each other. Like, you know, The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, they hate each other in the story, and they're causing each other pain. They hate each other, but then they go and eat lunch secretly when nobody's around. I think that's when we just switched to kayfabe instead of doing public luncheons and stuff, because that was the optics back then. But now the optics are poning the libs or poning the MAGA people. You get it.
Yeah, and you know, to give you a compliment, maybe this type of we need to start experimenting with things, experimenting with new ways to have discussions, new ways to have call-in shows, and things like that, where it's not all, you know, let's complain about the other guy, let's complain about how stupid so and so is, and we just need to experiment to figure it out, because I don't think we've quite figured it out yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, Pierce has figured it out. Like I'm
figured
on
it
board
out.
with Pierce.
Oh, good.
So
I mean, I've jumped on the NVC boat. That's my way of figuring it out. I think Leslie, you're like a little bit familiar with NVC, a little tiny bit.
I am a little familiar, yes.
Okay, cool. I
Well,
got
right.
this the steps just like staring at me at my face. I got them taped to my monitor. I'd like to quickly run down through them, and I after hearing you out here, I think I understand your perspective enough to kind of go through them, and you can tell me if I got everything
nonviolent
correct.
communication is the word that you haven't said yet.
Yeah.
Oh, were you asking what I meant?
MVC. You just said MVC, and I just know.
Okay. Yeah. I sometimes get caught up with using those acronyms and I never actually say
There's
the
so
word.
many words to use words.
Yeah.
Use your words.
Anyways, are you comfortable with me doing the little rundown, seeing if I understand you?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Cool. So I think you've made an observation, and that would be that people in social media has caused people to just be at each other's throats all the time, blaming other people. Bad things generally are happening. I think the feeling that this causes you is probably stress, maybe some frustration. Generally, not good feelings. And potentially, what's underlying those feelings, I think, is a need to uh, have us take care of each other as human beings. Really, I think that's really what it is. Whether that's comfort, whether that is just generalized well-being. You know, making sure everybody's taken care of. And I think what you want is people to have a starting point and just talk to each other like they're human beings. That's what you'd like everybody to do. That sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I don't want to feel like if I go to a store or I travel anywhere that I will be immediately judged by who I voted for, or what I think about this issue or that issue. Even if it just seems like I'm going to be judged immediately by those things and labeled.
Hmm. Yeah. So I'm thinking the I said that the need was, let's say, doesn't matter what I said. I may have been incorrect. So it's like you would like to not feel judged, to feel safe to be who you are and what goes on in your mind and what you believe or feel should be private to you and not harshly judged by others.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tip of the iceberg. Obviously, I'm scared right now for the country, but yeah, even if nothing bad happens, I'm still not keen on us being at each other's throats. So
Yeah. Yes, safety is
um,
important.
yeah, and not just not just physical safety, but emotional safety and psychological safety, and by the pleasantries of "have a nice day" and silly things like that. I think people actually don't realize how bad it could get. I think it can get a lot worse, and I think we have to guard against that.
What's when I asked you what asked you to make a public service announcement, you said like we just like start off by talk about what we have in common and kind of grow from there. Is that the best strategy to safeguard against things going south, going bad? Just getting into it or
Um,
such, yeah. You know what I'm trying to say.
yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna what. I don't have the secrets. I just know, believe that it's bad right now, and it can get a lot worse. Um, Relatively speaking, we're doing okay. We're not in a major recession. We don't have a draft going. Um, the pandemic is over. The big things in life that would cause us to be truly miserable are not happening. Um,
Hmm. You started
you
off.
know, I get this is my public service announcement. Life is short. It really is short, and you might go through some really hard times. And whatever you're going through now, it might get worse. And spend some time with your loved ones, and spend some time reaching out to others, and refocus on the good things, because there's a lot of good things out there. And if we don't grab hold of them, we miss them. And I mean, it's a simple message, but notice what's nice about somebody else, and notice what's nice about smelling roses, and things like that. Sorry if that sounds so simple, but
That's beautiful.
okay.
That's that's all I got, David. If you wanna do on, I'd like to leave it on that positive note.
Yeah, it's solid with me.
Okay.
Thanks for
Thanks,
coming on,
guys.
Leslie.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, we'll bring up next person. Anything you want to say in between people, David?
Just to reminder of the show, the goal is to take things that people care about, that they wish other people believed, or things that are important to them, or they wish they understand, and try to uh, figure out how we can get from point A to point Z. And the goal of the show is for other people to understand the person better by the end of the conversation. It's not a debate. We like debate in some situations, but the goal of this show is to understand why I like debate. I don't think Pierce likes debate, and that's all right.
Right.
So, yeah, I think Xylo
That's the
was
person.
next.
Hey,
Hola,
you've made it on stage.
hola. My English is pretty good. Not the best, but I will try to have a conversation with you guys.
Okay,
Sure. You
fantastic.
speak Spanish?
Yeah, sí.
Sí,
Hola,
mi
¿cómo
español.
estás?
Yeah. ¿Cómo estás?
Yo estoy bien, bien, bien.
Yeah.
So, can I talk about anything that I am interested in around YouTube guidelines? Correct?
Yeah, as
Yeah,
long
let's
as
give it a
it
shot.
doesn't, violate those community guidelines, you're good.
Okay, so I'm really into video games.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up around video games a lot of my life. I also like to go outside. I don't like to just sit on video games all day. So please don't assume, you know what I mean? But I'm very nervous.
No, it's no problem.
I
I like games too.
see
Me too.
so this new Fortnite season it they keep the fluent game going. Like Fortnite, it's just like a pew pew game. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on
If
Discord, but
Yeah.
it's just a
you're
pew pew
good, yeah.
game. Okay, yeah, it's a gun game. You build and stuff. But in this new season, they added where you can grab cars and put like turrets on it and stuff. It's really overpowered in my opinion, and a lot of people are hating on the game about that, but a lot of people
Mhm.
like it. So for the better players, they don't like it because the bad players can actually like get advantage against them.
Hmm.
So I really don't know how to feel about it. I was just stating my opinion. I think they should definitely nerf the cars and the gloves because I feel like they're significantly unfair compared to others.
Hmm.
Because I mean, at the same time, bad players can use them, but so can good players, and like good players post good items. It's like it's just OP. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
yeah. So also I want to jump on one more topic. Are you guys related in the sports world by any chance?
I haven't kept with anything this year, honestly.
No.
I,
Okay.
only
Well,
Green Bay sports.
I got you. So, yeah, I can,
Well, let me ask you this: why is it important for you to bring up the balance of Fortnite or whatever you're going to say at sports?
I feel
Why
like
is this important?
I feel like it's important because like I want more people to build up a community to get this fixed in the game. Because Epic Games does not like to listen to their fans. They're not the best, but like they don't really like to listen to the community around the base, and yeah. So I really don't I really don't think Epic Games not picking up what we want. So us as a community should build together to kind of 50-50 this game out so everybody can enjoy it and have fun. Obviously, not a lot of I don't think a lot of people in the audience do care. But by any chance, can you put oh my god, two speakers on here right now?
Hmm. What's the context? What are you thinking here?
My friend Vival, he wants to help me like kind of talk. We you know what I mean.
Pierce, thoughts?
Um, are we going to be talking about the Fortnite, or what are we going to be talking about?
We can talk about anything. I mean, I'm not too educated, like overpoweredly educated. Um, but yeah. So when I was a kid, I used to live in Colombia, so that's where I learned a lot of Spanish before I moved down to the U.S. and New York. When I was like 5, so I have some Spanish, learned like all the basics, but yeah. And then throughout my lifetime, I went to school, and I was like I had a brother, but he was older than me, so basically I was like a single child. And I got this girl in middle school. She was mad fine. I'm not even a cap. She was mad fine. But like, bro, I like I wanted to smash, man. But like, they don't, you know. I'm not trying to get like past the guidelines or anything, but I just wanted to so bad. But like, I was still young, so I wasn't thinking properly. You know what I mean? Also, yeah, I have a lot of friends. We mess around. One time we got kicked out of Big Lots, which is like a store down in the New York. For any of my New Yorkers in here, you know what I mean? Kind of. We got kicked out of Big Lots for messing around. Um, I really don't think the cashier or the worker really liked us that much. So yeah, I want to get off of all that boring stuff and head into like more of the SS social studies. So more of the history piece, which I'm guessing a lot of people are into in here, right?
Maybe.
Okay, well,
I'm wondering where. Yeah, go ahead.
So we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah.
you guys know the concentration camps, right? Germany, you know, like kaboom, the war that was happening back with Hitler.
Sure.
Mhm.
Do you? Yes or no? I
Yeah.
just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
We're familiar.
So, Yanke, which was a younger person that went through all the concentration camps, he went through in total over 7 concentration camps, which are basically, if you don't know what a concentration camp is, it's where they tortured the Jews and tormented them,
Hmm.
abused them, didn't feed them well, you know, made them do bad stuff, made them work. So yeah, Yanke got kicked out of his house. He had no school, so he had to go to concentration camp. And then around the 5th one, which was the death walk, where they had to walk in freezing cold. It was so cold that one of the prisoners' ears fell off. So that's a true story. Trust me. I did a lot of education on that before I moved on over more to more the U.S. and then out of state of Germany. But yeah, one of the ears fell off, and then they traveled through concentration camps. On Yanka, on one of the rides to the concentration camp, they used these carts, and Yanka had a dead person on his shoulder. So this guy was dead on the train. He didn't even know until like he looked. I got a friend request here. Hold on, I'm just gonna accept. Hey guys, thank you for the friend request, man. I appreciate it. I will talk to you guys after. My DMs are open. If there's anybody trying to hook up, so you know, I'm open for any time. Obviously, you know what I mean. Single and ready to mingle. I'm just gonna have a girlfriend. Please do not DM me.
All right, buddy.
all right.
It's
Wait. One more thing.
I'll give you 2 more seconds here.
Kanye West 2024. I love you guys. Yo estoy bien, cara solamente, acuérdame y pulsarme que me puta la madre.
Yeah. ¿Qué vamos a hacer contigo? See you
David, I
later.
love you so much. David, I love you so much. You're my celebrity
Thanks,
crush.
Well, maybe one day
Hopefully we
we'll
can meet up.
meet.
Hopefully we can meet up. I think my grandma's actually related to you, but I don't know.
Oh
She
yeah,
told me
we go
something
way
about-
back. Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah. My grandma forced me to actually join this, which I was really not pleasant to because I was mid-ranked game and she legit said she would cut the internet. So she told me I need to learn more English because apparently it's trash. So
Yeah.
I don't really know that much English. I just know more of the basics, which I'm taking it down the side. So
I don't know. You're talking
Yeah.
really fast to just know the basics.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm,
my grandma really if I can just saying.
All right.
So I gotta move like like really fast, or she'll get like really mad. But we'll save that conversation for another day.
Que tengan buen noche, Zalo.
Sí, normalmente y por la más y como y simplemente so in Colombia they have this tradition with tomatoes. So every
this
it's
is
somewhere
all over the place, man. My ADHD
Yeah.
can't handle this. So we'll talk to you another time. Let's talk to your friend who's going to do a fun little routine too. Let's go for it. Let's just do it.
all right.
안녕하세요.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm Korean. I don't know if you could tell, but yeah, I wanna speak off for my friend, like about Fortnite. Like, I really think that we should build up as a community, and like doing this, we're building up as a community to fix OP stuff, we could easily just do that even more for the American economy, which would be amazing. It's like, if we can figure out this basic stuff, we can move on to even harder stuff, and the American economy could go splendid. I don't know if you've also heard of Minecraft.
Never heard of it.
Oh, well,
No.
also on Minecraft, there's this new OP item. It's called a wooden shovel.
Yeah, it sounds like
And
OP.
it's like, I'm being so serious, but like it does like so much damage, and like it one hits or two hits people sometimes. And like I think we should build up as a community to fix stuff that are way too OP, or like in the community. I'm sorry. I have siblings in the background. I don't know if you heard anything, but
No.
But yeah, I think we should build up as a community to fix this stuff that is way too overpowered. And like, if we could do that, we could like build up as a community to stop like nukes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it would be really good for the world's economy. So
Is
like,
this
I
like
think
the
we should
cosmic paperclip? Like you optimize
start.
microtransactions, and by optimizing microtransactions to be balanced and fair, you make better diplomatic structures, and through the better diplomatic structures, we're going to create more world peace, and then
Yeah,
we'll
like
just
you start off from like
make
the
proxy
basics.
wars through our video games.
Yeah, like you start off from the basics, and then you like build up, and like
Okay.
everyone will be like peaceful.
Yeah. What do you think is the reason that companies don't fix these patches? Like, don't fix these
Money.
overpowered OP
Money.
items that people can buy?
Money.
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 How
That's
does
all
how
I
does
have to say.
money motivate them to not fix it? Explain that. Walk me down that path.
Because sometimes they'll spend too much money on making stuff, and like the stuff that they make is like really expensive, and they don't want to delete it because it'd be a waste of money. And then you also have the fan base taking money from them, so they try and balance it out to like be like not as OP, but like still kind of like how it was.
Huh. So they do fix it?
Kind of.
So we don't really need to rise up as a community. They're probably just going to take care of it themselves then.
Well, the community rises up to get them to do that, like nerf. Well, what I call a nerf, they like debuff it, like make it not as good. But we, the community, made them do that because we kept, chanting. And if we do that for like world peace and stuff, we could easily, get nukes destroyed or whatever. Send them off.
Look, I'm not opposed to what you're saying. Like, I think you have the right idea. I think there's a few steps missing here that I haven't been able to comprehend yet. But I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea, honestly. Like, I mean,
Do you guys have any questions for me?
Yeah, I do. How do we know if something is overpowered or if it's just the right amount of balanced?
Well, everyone will be peaceful, not hating on stuff. Like, there's like a balance, and if it's too much to the right, it'll fall. Like, think of like a stick on a piece of cardboard that is stood up. And if you can somehow balance that completely, it won't fall over and it won't be disrupted. But if there's too much balance on the right or left, most people will hate on that and it'll go that way. So you need to try and balance it and move it into the correct place.
Is there a test we could conduct to see if it's unbalanced or if it's perfectly balanced?
Just take it to the media and you can see all the hate, hate, and then find a way where you get the least of both.
Should we trust like people's, like what I'm hearing is like we should kind of like majority rules, like if it gets a lot of hate then it's probably not balanced, but if it doesn't get a lot of hate then it's probably balanced. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, it's to be the same on both sides. Like it'll be like balanced. It's completely
like-
balanced.
Equal hate on both sides.
Well, you want least of equal hate and stuff. Like you want it to be the least as possible, but like yeah, you just want the hate and the liking to be like just balanced. You just want it to be normal.
How do we figure out what normal is? Like, how do we figure that out?
Yeah, can you have a least without something to compare it to? Majorities.
I don't really know how to explain it. Like I know like what I'm thinking about, but like I don't know how to explain it. You know, like whenever that happens.
Mm-hmm. It's part of the reason we have this show.
Let's see here. I'm thinking. I'm just thinking of a way to explain it. So, say you have a string connected to two different sides of a cliff, and you know how people will walk across those strings, and they won't fall off, like be balanced like that, like have the whole community balanced and equal.
So I get your desire for balance and equalness, but it's just when you for the rubber to meet the road, if you know that expression. And I lost my train of thought now. Man, it's been a long day. Apologize.
So if Epic was to introduce a new weapon into Fortnite,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called the super gun, and how would we figure out if it was OP, balanced, or if it was just trash?
Well, it's obviously a super gun, so it'd have to be OP, or else the name wouldn't match it. And you'd want there to be a way to, like, oppose it. Like, you have the gun, but the enemy could get a chance to get something that could overthrow it. Like, get like something in Fortnite. We have cars, like my friend told you, and how we like balance the cars, we throw boogie bombs and it'll like kick them out of the car. And they'll just do a dance. And then you have a chance to, kill them or defeat them, whatever you want to say.
Okay. So if this super gun, like let's say it did 20% of damage, it took 20% of your health away when you got shot by it. But you could only hold it for 10 seconds at a time, and then you had to drop it for 10 seconds. What do you think that would be? Overpowered, balanced, or trash?
Fortnite would do is they would have a 10-second overheat. Like it would overheat after a certain amount of shots. And then after like 10, maybe 5 seconds, you would be able to get it recharged and shoot it again.
Okay. Given that criteria, that's how it is programmed in the game. What do you think? Is that overpowered?
As long as you have a way to go against it, I don't think it's overpowered.
Okay, so there needs to be like other weapons in the game to combat this particular weapon. So you need to have other ways to get around it to defeat it.
I'm sorry, but like, someone in the chat messaged me for feet pics. I don't know if I should bring that up to your attention.
Primary care physician. I don't know. I have no idea.
Probably your parents. Talk to your parents or guardian, legal guardian, therapist. That's gonna be on them. To sort that out. Yeah, we don't do that. We don't.
That's not part of the show.
Or maybe the moderators of the. Yeah, that's not a part of the show. With that being said, thanks for coming up, talking Fortnite. But yeah, let's.
Can I ask one last thing? What's the YouTube channel? What's the YouTube?
Well, he did get his last question in, so that's okay. He didn't. if you click on our profile, Discord profile, so you can get it there.
Yeah. But yep, our YouTube links are in our Discord profiles. Well, that was a fun little chat there at the end.
Was
Both
it?
of those were wild. I'm starting to feel old.
I actually know what he was kind of talking about, and I feel
I
kind
know,
of
I did
weird
too.
about that. Yeah.
It's nothing to be
Sort of.
ashamed of. Our generation grew up on, like, I mean, we were our generation was like the pioneers of those genres and stuff like that.
That's true.
This is part of our history, our heritage, so to speak. There needs to be like a flag for millennial folks.
What?
I don't
What
know.
are you talking about, David?
I need to go to bed.
All right, I gotta
I've
get
been out
the
in the sun
link.
too long today.
Apparently, you're hardly making sense to me. I'm finding the link for the after show if David's not asleep. I'll sleep. But I'm gonna drop that in the chat. Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah, I guess without further ado, we're wrapping her, I assume.
Yeah, let's call it a night and spend more time focusing on our underwater basket weaving.
All right. Sounds good to me. Let me...
Thanks for everybody who tuned in. Thanks to all the audience here at Discord, all the audience on YouTube. Anybody who's watching after the fact on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment on either Pierce or my channel so that we can get the algorithms engaged and, just start some crazy arguments about trivial things in there. That's what they like.
If you like Pierce,
yeah,
like the video. If you don't like Pierce, like the video.
Yes.
If you smoke weed, like the video. If you don't smoke weed, like the video.
Oh, yeah.
Also, argue about all those things in the comments. That'd be great.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right. See you guys.